Hey there, Dungeon Masters. Are you looking for a simple tool to use at your table to maybe if you want to draw out some terrain or maps or symbols, or you want to like hand out something for tracking hit points or things like that? Well, I think I have a pretty good tool for you here, and it is a set of dry erase cards from a company called Zine, and they're only $14.99 over at Amazon. I'm going to put a link down below if you're interested, but I want to show you in this video how you can use these cards. There's 50 cards to a deck, and you can use these cards to make all of these things. Let's go ahead and start with terrain. Okay, so let's say you have a couple of characters, and there's a water hazard of some kind. Well, you can move that right into view there. In fact, you can do it long ways, or if you want to make it maybe a little bit easier for them, you can go ahead and move it that way. You can put sharks in there, you can put alligators, you can do all kinds of things with that. Also, let's say you wanted to have, instead of water, you wanted to have some sort of difficult terrain. So go ahead and make as many of these as you want. Here's a bunch of rocks. You can put them all this way or this way, and they've got to move their way through. So actually you can kind of put them on that particular card, and it shows them where they're at. And of course, you can always put all kinds of things in there that'll be terrible, some sort of magic minefield, something like that. I'm sure your players will enjoy that. Now, let's go ahead and swap over to maps. Maybe you don't want to use a large play map. Maybe you just want to draw something very simple for your players. So maybe you hand them just a little map like this, right here. You're starting in Skyreach, and you're going to go up to Windstone, which, by the way, is in my little world of Kriesh, so you can check that out if you want. I'll put a link down in the description below. Now, not only can you hand them a map just like this, something simple as a reminder of where they're going, you could actually build out a map if you want to. So let's say you're planning your dungeon here, and you want to put a bunch of cards in here to show them kind of where they're at. You can move them along at their own pace, however they want to go. You can move it around this way. You can add a little bit right here and begin to move them along. And that way they kind of know what part of the encounter. Maybe they're hitting an encounter there, and they say, well, we want to move to the next section. Great. There's an encounter here. You want to move to the next section. They're right here. And this way, you actually could just, if you just start them here, you don't have to move anything. Let's say you don't want to reveal everything to them. You can just add as you go, or you can flip them over like this, and maybe you can put a little note on the card that says, uh-oh, you know, any little notes you want to put like that on the cards to let people know maybe what's coming or not, but that's completely up to you, right? You can warn them, not warn them, it's perfectly fine. But this way, at least you get to reveal what the next step is. And maybe under one of these is some sort of monster or something that will attack them. You never know. But this is also very good practice for a dungeon master to simply map out your dungeon. Just say, hey, that's going to happen here, that's going to happen here. Then you have a complete visual of what you're doing. But let's say it's not caverns or a dungeon. Let's say maybe a house or something like that. Well, you can start players off here and put a couple of little words in that says, hey, dark smells like sulfur. Uh-oh. And maybe, well, there's a couple of bandits in here as well. You can put your bandits right on here if you'd like to do that. And, of course, you can put little doors. There's a door here, so they're going to come through there. You can remove those, obviously, put them over here once they've done battle with them. And this is also good for things like, if you haven't watched my game on duo DMing, or just one-on-one, this becomes a great way to shrink the game down a little bit, where it's not so huge and people can kind of embrace it a little bit more, wrap their arms around a little bit, and they're looking kind of directly here. But you can just kind of do piece by piece and show them little bit by little bit what each thing they're doing is. Now let's say they go in there, there's two bandits, they dismiss them, and they decide to go through this door over here. And then you say, okay, good, you go through that door, and you find a warlock in there. There's a warlock in there, and he's doing all kinds of things. He's conjuring, he's doing things, and uh-oh, yeah, look what showed up there. Good old Mr. Demon. Well, I'm sure he doesn't mean any harm to anybody. But as you can see, this is not only a way to show your players, but it's a great kind of planning experiment that you can use for yourself. Let's go ahead and move on to symbols. So maybe your player characters are walking through the cavern, and you say, hey, there are some symbols on the wall here. You have to interpret those. You have to figure that out. You have to figure out what language that is. Does anybody speak that language? Now, of course, these can be made up. They can be real language, whatever you choose to do. But you could also use it as maybe some sort of device, like you put 3 circles. And those 3 circles have a dial on them of some kind. And you say, you're going to have to move these dials around to actually open up the room that it goes into. As you can see, this is a great focus tool to get everybody's eyeballs straight to one place so they can figure out what it is you're trying to tell them. Now let's take a look at spells. So let's say your wizard wants to cast a spell. They may say, well, how far does it go? Well, it goes that far. Well, what's the range here? Well, you could grab another card and just draw a big old circle, just like that, and say, okay, it's going to cover that amount of area. Or you could just use the whole card as the spell. Just say, hey, look, this is your area here. It's going to be 30 feet, and it's going to cover, let's say, the amount of this card. So whatever that card is, that way you can put it over the area, and it's going to be that much. Or maybe you want to have a spell effect. Let's say, hey, you cast Wall of Fire. Well, let's see, you can go ahead and put yourself a wall of fire there, and that way you can say, all right, that's what you have. You have a giant wall of fire here. You have to figure out how to get around it if it was cast towards you, or maybe you're hiding behind the fire, and you say, okay, we're going to go ahead and attack from here through the fire at whatever it is on the other side, like a big bad minotaur. While we're in spells, let's go ahead and talk about magic items. And I didn't actually make a card for that, but let me just go ahead and talk about magic items. Put that up here. And let's say your players want something like a magic item. Well, you could say, hey, here you go. Here's you can put hats on there. You can put a wand. You can put a ring. You can put a healing potion right here. You say, oh, it's 2d4 plus 4. Give yourself a healing potion. And that way they can kind of track these things. If you give them the item and they have something in front of them, well, then they can say, okay, I know what my resources are, and I know when I can use this. And I don't know about you, but I am always forgetting the items that I have. So if I find that if I give a physical item to somebody around my table, they maybe tend to forget a little bit less. Listen, or maybe you want to give out a weapon. So maybe you want to go ahead and do a +1 mace. Just go ahead and just say, hey, here's a +1 mace. There you go. You have your weapon. Here's what you find in the treasure chest. You find a magic item, you find a healing potion, and you find a +1 mace. Now, what if you want to do something crazy like, hey, Paul, can you put a whole character on this sheet? Yeah, I think you can. If you go ahead and put character sheet right there and bring out Bob. Well, there's Bob. Bob, you don't know what he is yet or anything like that, but he does have a name. He does have some stats. He does have a +1 sword. He has a saving throw of 15. It's 15. He's going to save 15 on everything. And maybe he has hit points. He has 10 hit points. And of course, when Bob gets hit by a giant rock or something, he can always change that to 1. There we go. He's got 1 hit point left. Which brings up another good point. You could always just kind of use it as a tracker sheet. Maybe you're giving out luck points, and they never look at their character sheet for the luck points, but maybe they'll look at this. And these, by the way, this comes with, I think, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 5. Yeah, it comes with 5 little markers. So you can pass these all out to your players and say, okay, keep track of your luck points. You have 3. You just rolled a 1. You want to re-roll that. Good. That'll be 2 now that you have. Make sure you mark it on your card. So whether you are a minimalist DM, maybe you want to use this for kids, maybe you don't have a lot of supplies, I think this deck right here will be of great value to you because you will be able to do amazing things and draw on the fly without a whole lot of prep time. And listen, if you like videos like this and you want more of them, well, I'm going to put some playlists up here you can check out, and it has a bunch of other DM tips. Also, if you like this video, well, please go ahead and like and subscribe and share this video, because there's a lot more videos to come about DM tips, world building, and reviews. I hope that you'll hang around for it. And let me know in the comments, what would you use these cards for? Let me know down in the comments. What would you use these cards for? But that's it for today, everybody. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you all in the next video.